Right.
You know, so in year 2, that second bucket is going to credit, but that's you know, compounding at 340%. So same thing. That does 2% roughly over the, which this is projecting to go a lot higher than 2%, but I'm kind of showing you, right? So let's say it just does 2%. You multiply 2 by the 340.
Okay.
So it's almost what, 9% to the client, so on and so forth, right? And as you can see over on the right, the most recent 10 years, it did
16.5, right?
Yeah, the lowest 16.6, right? And then highest is 23%. So so this is all great and dandy, right? So the thing is with how this thing is built, how it's structured, right? All we need these two indices to do is roughly, if we can squeeze out 3 or 4%, right? It's probably going to do over 10% to the client because of how the crediting structure works, how the laddering structure credits.
Okay.
So that's the saving grace. Now, that Loomis Sales is projecting to do probably 6 or 7% over the next 10 years. So that's why you take 6 or 7% times all those par rates. It looks really good for accumulation for the client, right? And then you can go down to page 9 and see the historical. So the non-guaranteed is on page 9.
One
and you
second.
can see how that thing just takes off, right? Just for accumulation purposes.
Okay, so
the laddering strategy is built by Nexus, right? It's kind of first to market. I actually think they might have the patent on it, so you may not see another one that credits like that.
okay. Wait, so it's done 16.6 over the last 20 years? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Why aren't we selling more of this?
well, so here's the crazy thing, right? So kind of give you a little backstory. So a Nexus, right? They just launched this product maybe a year ago, and it's their most successful launch to date. It was on $1 billion run rate on their first year, right? Which is wild. Now with all of the Nexus products, so we're a distribution company, right? So Quantum, we distribute the products for Nexus, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are 300 distribution companies in the country, right, or in the space. So we are one of 16 that has access to these products. So they're very, very limited and protected on the distribution front. So that's why you've never seen them before. Okay. A lot of people have never seen them. They might have heard of a Nexus, but they really didn't know how to get access to them.
Right.
And so with them being our sister company, we've got a great relationship with them. And so, yeah, that's why this thing is crazy, right? And if your guy wasn't in New Jersey, the Plus version has some benefits that are absolutely wild as well.
Okay.
So I didn't want to get you too excited on the Plus version.
But, well, so I have some clients. Can you run another hypothetical for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can actually pull up my client's info and almost give you an exact kind of the situation that I am working with here. This is a female in the state of Connecticut. Hold on for me 1 second. All right. It's always a good thing to have the phone ringing, right? Especially what we do for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I'm looking at this, and the growth on this is definitely amazing. Because so like I said, in working with other carriers, I usually use a 1 year point to point. But we don't really have a laddering strategy. I do love laddering. Yeah, so give me 1 second. Female, age 56. And then the account has approximately 27,318. And it's non-qualified.
I'll run run the plus version on that? Let me see.
Mhm. Now, I haven't included surrender charges because this is she does have it in another annuity. So I'm assuming there, she would have surrender fees for rolling it over. So I haven't calculated exactly what that would be. So let's just say conservatively, the initial investment is 20K.
So the kicker is the minimum on these is I'll run it at 25 just so you
Okay, yeah, we can do 25. And that's what I tell all my clients. I'm like, listen, when people are telling you stuff like buy term, invest the difference, if you're not investing 25,000, you're not investing the difference because the minimum investment is 25K. But,
So, all right. So here's what I'm gonna do, right? So there's, it looks like Connecticut and New Jersey, it's not approved. So I'm gonna run it for you anyways.
it's not approved in Connecticut or New Jersey. Correct. The East Coast, the East Coast.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna show you anyways, just so you can to a client.
Well, that's the benefit of being licensed in multiple states. But I also have the concern of where my clients live. Yeah, because this one is a close, very close personal client. I'd love to get her into something better. Right now, she's at a 3%. Excuse me, a 1%. And at the time, I was happy getting her 3%. So yeah, can you hold on for me really quickly? I have a client calling.
Absolutely.
Mm. This is Alonzo speaking. How can I help you? Hey, what's going on, boss? All right, Colton.
Yes.
All right, sorry about that.
Are you good?
Um, yeah, I forgot what I was even saying.
Oh, just a close personal friend.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is a very close client. I'd like to be able to get her higher percentages. We were looking at 1 to 3%. Now, percentages are closer to mortgage rates, right? They're at like 9%. So it's it's very comfortable to sell annuities. I'm like, listen, screw your 401k. Let's get some real money. Uh listen, it's
Here's something cool too, right? So if you're kind of in that space, the North American has a 5 and 7 year chassis as well.
oh, there's a
And
5 year.
the 5 year is one of the best in the industry by
Okay.
far.
Okay. And then I'm also going to ask you a little bit about the SPIAs as well, because again, these quote the well, I have basically I'm going over 4 clients with you today. 2 are family. So obviously I want to take the most care of them, as we're related.
Yeah, I get it.
It's hard to screw somebody's money up and then sit across the table at Thanksgiving, right? So yeah, I always make sure to take care of the family's money the best, even when it's not the most money. It's never the most money from family. It's always like, I got 100 grand. I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? But hey, yeah.
So you're looking at a SPIA?
Yeah, this if not for the 56-year-old, this is an older client. She is in New York, but I'm looking to bring her to Connecticut as well. And I'll tell you the amount in one moment. So,
I think Connecticut's one of those weird
eh,
flipping states here.
mm, okay, so yeah, the current value is 91.1. Her surrender value, so her investment would be 85.3. And then the annuitant is 68 years of age. So she's just hit FRA. But she's pretty good. She really doesn't need the money yet. But in New York, we were only able to get her 1%. So, this is my mom-in-law. I'm like, Mom, come move with me and let's move that money so we can get you 3% at the time. And I was like, screw that. Now we can get you, a few more percent if she wants to let it sit for another 3 year. What's RMD right now? 72?
Yeah, did it just go up?
It goes up to 75 in 2025.
Yeah, so it's like 72 and a half or whatever that. Yeah, 72. Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at you, Colton. I'm sorry.
oh no, no, I love it. This is what I like doing here. So Connecticut, making sure I'm going to show you something. Try to run one real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
So I sent you the plus illustration.
1 second. All right, so I have another one here. This is the plus with the 25K.
Yes.
All
So
right.
this thing has.
Okay, this is Pennsylvania. No problem. I'll get my PA license if necessary.
The only reason I ran it there, a couple reasons, states don't want to allow me to illustrate certain things just for the state mandates or
Yeah.
whatever. So, but anyways.
Yeah, that's fine. I
But,
have potential business in Pennsylvania actually. So I'm looking here on page 4.
on four.
Yeah. Or and that's showing me the managed future index strategy.
Are you on page 4 or 8?
I am looking at page 4. I can scroll to 8. 1 second here.
Okay. No, you're good.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, now I'm looking at page 8. They're almost actually identical. Let me see, or maybe I was looking at. No, you know what? I was looking at page 8. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. So yep. That's kind of the only reason I put it all into the Loomis is so in the laddering strategy, the minimum per strategy is 25 grand. So we kind of have to pick one when we're working with 25,000 total.
Okay.
So I just threw 100% in there. Now where this thing kind of gets interesting, okay? So this has a 15% cash bonus.
You say that one more time?
So it's got a 15% cash bonus.
And that's day one?
Day one, no vesting schedule. So it goes in. So if you go down to page 11, you'll see it. Put 25 in, then the 15% that goes right in. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you see the third column from the right where it says living benefit base,
Uh-huh.
so that bucket grows at 200% of interest earned. So if the client gets 5 to the cash, that bucket will grow at 10, right? So it grows. It's at a 2x multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that's important is that is the engine for the benefits rider. Now, if you go down to page 13,
Page 13. Okay.
so you're a big life guy, right? So
Yes.
this could be that are not insured. This is one of the best 2 of 6 ADL benefits in the space. So it takes that benefit base that grows at 200%. And so in this case, at age 75, they got 462,000. And what they do is that they elect to trigger this. They divide the 462 into 7 equal payments, and it's paid out yearly. So they'll get 66,000 a year for 7 years to
And
offset the cost of.
this is based off of a single premium of 25K?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously numbers change if the client contributes more to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like if it's a higher, so these are single premium contracts, that, so, the client puts in 100 grand, the numbers get crazy.
So actually, I guess in terms of what my question is there, so I have clients who have certain behaviors, and basically, some of my clients gamble, and they get winnings. And what I do is when they get, $5 grand in winnings, I say, hey, listen, don't go, blow it on a trip to Hawaii now. Put it in an annuity, or put it towards your annuity. Obviously, it's non-qualified funds, but there would be no regular schedule, which is why I'm a big universal life guy because of that flexibility. Do we have flexibility in contributions?
Unfortunately not. So these are single premium contracts.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish they were, because I get asked that every time I'm on a phone call.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, but just kind of, I got to play by the rules, right? So now with this 2 of 6 ADL benefit, here's the crazy part. So let's say they trigger it, they're getting their 66 grand in this case, and in year, say 2, client passes away, right?
Hold on one second. Let me just answer this call really quick.
Oh, you're good. Yep, go ahead.
Hey, brother, what's going on? All right, sorry about that.
All good, man. You gotta answer them.
Yeah.
So let's say, so what I was saying was, say they trigger this, right? And in year 2, the client dies, the beneficiary gets the remaining 5 payments.
Okay. So you're saying so it's a so they can bequeath it. I'm trying to think. I can't even think of the term that we call that, but so there would still be a death benefit. Basically, it's almost like a survivorship annuity.
Kind of, yeah. So especially in the 2 of 6 ADL situation, what I think the average is 3 or 4 year kind of a claim period, right? So this is going to cover 7 years, and so if something does happen in the 3rd or 4th year, the beneficiary gets the remaining payments, whatever they might be.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, there's no underwriting on this, right? So that's what I'm saying is if the client has a lump sum and is uninsurable.
What's the minimum age?
40, I believe, for the writer.
Okay.
Yeah, so 40 to 79, I believe.
40 to 79 for these. Okay.
Yeah. So Now that's one benefit of the rider. We go down one more page.
So we're on page 14.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is very, very unique. First in the industry, and it's patented by Nexus, so no other annuity will have this. This is called the plan gap benefit. And what this does is if Social Security is reduced by 3% at some point in the future, right? So even on their website in 2036, right, the fund's going to be depleted, and then 77% of benefits are going to be paid out.
Right.
They'll
So
have
you
like
and I are never getting that retirement.
100%. So a lot, we all have those clients, right, that kind of rely on Social Security. So if there's a reduction in Social Security, they're going to be in a world of hurt, right? So this is another kind of like a Social Security insurance in a way. So if it's decreased by more than 3%, they can choose to trigger this. And so they take the same benefit base, right, that grows at 200%, and they divide that up into 12 annual payments. So in this case, they'll get $11,000 a year for 12 years.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
the reduction in Social Security.
this is only obviously if those are triggered. This doesn't have an effect on the annuitization, correct?
So this is for growth, right? So this isn't really an income play,
Okay.
right? So this is more of kind of earmarks. Let's say we've already created the income and they've got some money left over, right? Or something like that, some kind of scenario like that. So what we use this product for is kind of just accumulation, right? And then we use the plus version for a couple things. One, to offset losses in the market with the 15% bonus. We use the bonus too to offset surrender charges on other annuities.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the benefit rider, so you got 268L, Social Security plan gap, and there's an enhanced death benefit too. So basically, some of the biggest concerns in retirement for anyone, right? We have something that could tackle it.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So pretty powerful story, and this thing basically sells itself. It's crazy.
Right.
So and if we go down one more page, this isn't anything new, right? This one's kind of a standard, but there's this, right? So client dies, beneficiary can take a lump sum, 84 grand in this case, or with a higher amount, 140,000 over 5 years.
Right.
So there is a death benefit play as well. The thing to keep in mind with this, all of this is in one rider, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all in one rider, it's you use it once and you lose it. So if they choose the 206ADL, they don't get any of the other benefits.
I
They
gotcha.
choose the plan gap, they don't get any other benefits. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's all in one rider. It all comes in one package with a bow on it. Right?
Okay.
The bow's 15% cash, in my opinion. But
All right. So yeah, after surrender, she's right under 25 at 23. So I can, if I need to, I'll give her the other $2,000, so it can be 25. I may do this because this is for my mom. And this was from basically pandemic happened. People had crappy jobs and crappy 401ks. Everybody was scared. So she left the job. It was a part-time job she was at for a couple of years. She had 20, 30K. I said, listen, let me manage it. But now it makes more sense for me to give this to her. So my goal with my mom, we have longevity on the females in my family. Example, my grandmother is 84 years old. So my goal is with my mom, she's currently 56. I want her to hold this for another 20. I guess on the button 20 years at this point, because RMD is 75. And then so the goal would be after that 20 years, we put it in a SPIA.
gotcha.
So in terms of that, with her being, and I still want to also work on my mom-in-law. But in terms of with my mom, so uh, with this state of Connecticut, because this is something I might do like tomorrow for her. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so
Well, no, I know this is PA. But what I'm looking for is what do we have in the state of Connecticut that I can give her some kind of growth? So that in 20 years we can roll it into a SPIA and she's got I want to get her more than 1%.
so okay. So let me see. Might have something else for you. 1 second. Now, can I ask you, do you typically write a SPIA over a fixed index annuity with an income rider on it?
Uh yes. I don't really I haven't had any clients age enough to have a SPIA, to be honest. Most of my clients are not old enough for a SPIA. So I
So let me
yeah.
go to something that I think will blow your socks off here.
Okay. Yeah, if I can do a fixed annuity for my mom, like I said, if I can get her more than 1%, which at the time was great, right? It was better than going to, Goldman Sachs and getting, 0.0000001%. uh,
Yeah,
so
I'm checking to see if this is approved in Connecticut. This might be your go-to for a couple different things. Kind of switching gears on you here,
no problem.
but
And thanks for your time, Colton. Like I said, I'm working on four. The last one I'm working on is the gentleman I'm sitting with today at 4 p.m.
okay.
And we already have an SEP set up for him through his S corp. But he only put in 15K, and if I'm not mistaken, we can put up to 66. So I've got a lot of moving
Okay.
parts going on. I'm sorry. Let me focus on my mom's stuff first, and then my mom-in-law, and then my 4 p.m. Sorry, I'm just excited.
So which client had the 85 grand? I ran one for 85. You want to see that one?
Yeah, I want to see that. So 85 grand is my mom-in-law,
Okay, perfect.
and
So
she's 68.
68.
Yes.
And when do you want to see income on this?
Uh, let's do RMD. So right at 70. Oh, well, no, if she's 68, RMD for her is 72 still. Well, no, because 2025 is what? 2 years from now. So yeah, RMD for her will be 75. The women in my life have longevity. I can't say so much for the men. We like to die, so. But
Yeah,
some guys would say it's to get away from the wife. Right now, let me stop.
that's funny. Yeah. Oh man. This one might be. I think you might like.
There was the next that runs of water cooler. But the water cooler is in my living room. That's the beauty of working from home, right? It's just not the same when you have water cooler talk. I have water cooler talk with my cat, pretty much. That's my coworker.
Okay, so this is gonna. I think this is another one that'll be really beneficial to you.
Okay, and you've emailed that already, or
I'm thinking now.
no problem. Okay, I see the Secure Horizon. This is the 217. This is Secure Horizon deferred. This is based on 25K, I think. Yes. Okay. And then this is image 01. Okay, that's quantum.
Okay, so just send that your way.
No problem.
This sucker will be good. So there's two products that I would. I'm gonna put my mom in the North American,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's a now my. I think I'm gonna put my uncle in the nationwide, right? So my mom's brother when he's ready to move his annuity.
Mm-hmm.
So if that'll tell you anything, right? If I were gonna pick something for my family, these are the two I would go after.
Okay. One
So let
second
me
here.
know when that one comes.
Yeah, no, I just popped open the nationwide. So this is a
Okay.
select 9.
So yes, do you know have you seen the New Heights before?
So I've heard quite a lot. I write nationwide IULs. Well, I have the ability to write nationwide IULs. But I've not seen their annuity product. So this is perfect to see. So there's 1% rider, rider
Yeah. So
charge.
here's I'll give you kind of the overview, right? So
Uh-huh.
Nationwide, um, one of our better partners on the Nexus side of things. Everyone knows that the thing about Nationwide is everyone knows it, right? So everyone knows Nationwide's on your side. Brad Paisley, Peyton Manning, right? The
Yes.
average case size for Nationwide New Heights annuity is about 3 times the industry average, and they think it's because right of the just the brand awareness. So a
Okay.
lot of times what'll happen is like, hey, I've got 50 grand,
Right.
show them this.
And then
I
they
know
pump in a
what if I
buck
put
50. Yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna say, so people are pumping in a buck 50 easy. Okay.
yeah. So now you get where this thing hums. This is kind of built for. It is the #1 guaranteed income rider 4 years in a row in the whole industry.
Okay.
So you get 20% income-based bonus. So it's not really a cash bonus, but it's an income-based bonus of 20%. And then on top of that, you get 8% compounding for up to 10 years on the benefit base.
So that's the roll up.
Yep, exactly. So the benefit base obviously feeds the income, right? The cool thing about it is a couple things, right? One is it's a high watermark. It tracks values daily, especially for income purposes. So let's say we have a week where the markets go crazy. It'll capture the high watermark on the income base, and then that'll could potentially increase the income later on, and it'll never go down.
Okay.
Right. So now, you're getting 8% on the benefit base, but the question is what if the indexes do better? Well, that client gets the higher of the two. Okay. So if we go down and look at, let's go to page 7.
Okay.
So this is absolute worst case scenario. This is an Armageddon situation. This is 0% return.
Oh, this is guaranteed.
Right.
Okay.
Guaranteed. Worst case scenario, she'll get 10,806 a year for the rest of her life. Never goes away.
Okay. I love the way that you explain guaranteed. I'm going to start explaining guaranteed like that to my clients. Listen, guaranteed is if the world goes to an end. So don't worry about guaranteed. What are all those zeros?
Exactly.
That's if the world goes bang and we have the zombie apocalypse. That's not happening. But
we have a lot more to worry about than this annuity.
yeah.
We're in deep trouble, right?
Yeah.
So now where this thing really starts to sing is if we go down one more page. Okay.
1 second. So page 8.
Okay. So on the page above, the income started at 10,000. So in this scenario, we actually got some decent returns on the indexes. So the starting income on this is 15.6.
Right.
Right. Now, some annuities, or a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them you might look at is once you kind of on the guaranteed side of things, once you trigger the income, it's locked in. It'll never go up, never go down.
Right.
Well, on this one, you do have potential for increases in income. So remember, it tracks the values daily. So if something happens, get a little bump in pay, they actually get the pay raise the next month, and it'll never go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the nationwide story is income plus accumulation.
Gotcha.
This is one of the few times that the clients can have their cake and eat it too. Have really competitive and solid income that could go up, but they're not sacrificing anything on the accumulation side. So if you look in year 20
Yeah.
on this, in year 20, she's pulling 23,000 a year.
23,000. Yeah.
She's pulled a total of 235,000 of income off of 80 grand.
Right.
But if we go over to the left, she's got a surrender value of 295,000,
Right.
a contract value of 261,000,
Right.
and a death benefit of 310. So
Okay.
not giving up on the accumulation side. So that's why I asked you the question about the SPIA. So how a SPIA works, right, is you put the money in. The only thing you're guaranteed is the income for a period certain, or a life, or maybe a double, life or 2 lives or whatever.
Yeah, I never do period certain. I always do life.
Okay, perfect. So with that, you might get a little higher income, but there's typically no death benefit, and there's no cash that the client can access in case of emergencies. Right? So
Right.
with this, you get the income, and then there's cash in case of emergencies down the road. Like let's say she turns 90 and she's like, well, I'm 90, income, I've got everything else, everything kind of taken care of, but I just kind of want a lump sum. I want to go play. All right. So surrender value at age 90 is 361 grand. So she can literally take, after taking about 300 grand in income, she can take the $361,000 and walk away.
Nice. And you're saying this is approved in Connecticut?
Yeah, this illustration is ran in Connecticut.
Okay. So I definitely will. So my mom-in-law is an ex-advisor from Morgan Stanley. So she's kind of a hard sell. But now that I have this illustration, I will talk to her. Because I'm looking at that can you explain to me the now this is non-guaranteed 6.1. I'm sorry, this is guaranteed 6.1. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is non-guaranteed. Okay, beautiful. Can you explain to me the where I see the 6.1 and never mind. I see that's payout percentage. Never mind. So the average earning is 11.7. Fucking amazing. Excuse my language. So yeah, this I can definitely point.
Okay, so here I'll kind of go a little deeper with you, right? I like talking to you because you kind of have a good understanding of things, how these work. So if you go down to page 10, I'll kind of explain this page and why I like this page.
Gotcha.
So when I run these illustrations, I can put a level assumed rate of return in. Right?
Gotcha.
And I can choose between a couple different options, right? So on this one, I ran it at a level assumed 4.5%.
Okay.
Right. The question is why is it showing 11.2? So if the 4.5 is what the index does. So you take the 4.5 times the participation rate,
Right.
right? Which you can see the par rates on page 3. But anyway, so if you look, so what that does is this is kind of a more realistic scenario. Page 10 is.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just looking at the allocations really quick on page 3.
Okay, so she's a Morgan Stanley, so she'll like this.
Yeah, that's
like we have some of the brightest minds on Wall Street that build these things for us.
I was looking at that Mosaic too.
Mosaic 2, the SG macros projected to do very well. So JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, SG, I don't forget how to say it, but that's pretty popular.
Yeah, SG macro and Compass. Okay. And then the zebra
Yeah.
heads and the
So
nice. You can never go wrong with the nice. Okay.
yeah. So I mean, and with if we kind of scroll back down,
Yep. Page 10.
page 10. So I like this because it's a little more realistic, right? So and you start at 10 grand, right? And it's 10,000 for a couple of years. Then there's a bump, right? A couple of years, another bump, right? So what we want to do is set proper expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So the historical, as you know, the market's been on the greatest bull run in the history of the market for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little unrealistic. Could it happen again? Yeah, it could. Odds of it happening are very slim. So if we can land somewhere in between the hypothetical and age 10, that's a win, right? So somewhere in the middle of those would be a win. So we just want to set proper expectations to the client. You're not going to get a bump in the income every single year, right? You get a bump every once in a while. That's gravy. But also, and even on page 10,
Mm-hmm.
the accumulation side, when the client's 90, you got $230,000 contract value. You got, $250,000 in death benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
In addition. So, with all things considered, this the income plus accumulation story is where Nationwide sets itself apart from the competition.
It's
So you
literally
invest in both
keeping up with
worlds.
inflation.
Exactly. Yeah, and when SPIAs have their place, obviously they're fantastic, right? But a lot of times, SPIA is a hard sell for one reason, is because they want to know what happens to their money, right? So when you do a SPIA, you give it to the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to pay you out. Well, in this case, you can say, hey, mom, your cash is actually growing in this. So in case of emergencies, you can access it. And so it's not a dead asset, right? So in 10, 15 years, you can move into something else. You could, whatever. You've got the compounding, benefit-based roll-up. There's a lot of benefits to it. And so, in a lot of cases, if you want to squeeze every dime out of income, because you'll have those clients too, they need every penny, right?
Shit, they want every penny.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll want every penny, that need it, whatever it might be. And the SPIA is obviously the way to go, right? So, having a little more control could be attractive to the client down the road, seeing that their money grow while taking income.
Okay. This one is beautiful. I'm definitely going to point this to my mom-in-law. And I have this. And since it's available in Connecticut, so I can do is there that same minimum of the 25K?
Great question. So on the 8 year, it's a minimum of 10,000.
Okay,
So
so
the only difference is the par rates aren't as quite as high. Still functions the same, still the same functionality, same 20%, 8% compounding, all of that. Par rates are a little lower, but the minimum is 10,000 on that.
okay. So I'm looking right now at my mom's account. This is the one who's 56. She would be starting it with 23,384 and 69 cents. So 23,385. And I'd like to do that strategy for her. That's something I can kind of I want to make sure I'm within a year of her contract. But yeah, so looking at her surrender fees, her surrender value is 23,385. So literally if I can have that illustration within this month, I'll probably be doing that for her because I need to make sure that mom is okay.
Okay, so 56. And then how far do you want to see the deferral period? 70?
Yeah, well, at least 75. The only I'd like it to go past 75, but right now, I know RMD is going to be 75. So yeah, basically 20 years of accumulation.
Okay, so there's a couple ways you could do it. You could ride. So the guarantees are built in for 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like strategically, there's a couple ways you can do it. One is you put it in this product and let it ride for 20 years. Another thing we do a lot is put it into something that will get the most growth.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say North American. Ride that for 10 years. More money, more options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then after the 10 years, no more surrender. Then we can reassess the industry at the time and see if there's any good products out there in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could look at something to create that income 10 years from then, right? With the guarantees built in. A couple different ways.
Yeah.
Couple, and then for you, the agent, right? Making double commission.
Yeah, no. Listen, I gotta eat and I got mouths to feed too, definitely. So that actually, the only reason I was looking at this for this is definitely great for mom-in-law, right? Because she's close to RMD. So this strategy works. The strategy that you just mentioned for my mom, I want to get her the absolute most growth I can, with the non-qualified, assuming she's not going to contribute another dime from that 23,000, though I know she will when she can, like I said, scratch off winnings, what have you, and that's fine. But I want to see, she's 56, the 23.3, tomorrow I tell her, hey, we put it in, obviously, surrendered value time and all that. The company's gonna, ride it out to the end of the month to get their interest. But obviously beginning day one of next month of June, right? June 1, she starts accumulating. And then we ride that for 10 years. Yeah, can I see her getting the most growth she can for 10 years, and then 10 years we reassess if I can give that to her?
So you have two options. So on straight growth, I think I sent you. Did I send you one for 12? I did. So it'll be that North American for. Well, I didn't. Let me do the standard version on that.
Okay.
Two options. Let's see. 23K. So we can run the North American at 25,000. So I have to come up a little bit. I'll send that one to you because that's easy to run. The other option we've got is the Athene BCA is a minimum of 10,000. It is one of the greats out there for income as well.
I hear a lot about Athene. I've heard some wonderful things about Athene. Also, one other carrier that I've heard quite a lot of bit about, their annuity, is Allianz. Everybody's like start raving about it. I don't know if
you don't want my opinion on that.
Fair enough.
I can give you my opinion on it if you want it, but
Well,
it's not.
no, yeah, I'd love to have an honest opinion.
So we have access to it, but we do not sell it.
Fair enough.
One of the reasons, the biggest reason is they have been known historically to do a lot of bait switches. They'll offer big bonuses for a short time. Their benefit bases are absurd, so that you can never freaking roll them out of it, right? From a suitability standpoint. And then their renewal rates are pitiful. So you enter the contract at a 230% par. Year or two into the contract, you're down to a damn near guaranteed minimums, right?
Oh, wow.
So when we do a lot of due diligence behind the scenes on companies and historical renewal rates, and they're one of the poorest. So yes, the functionality of the product on paper and historically, they're phenomenal, right? But what does it look like in the real world moving forward for someone in the contract? That's what we have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. So when we make a recommendation, we're not apologizing 5 to 10 years down the road.
Right.
Right. So that's why we kind of steer away from them. But there's some good features there for sure, 100%.
Okay, yeah, that's what I got triggered. I have a bunch of buddies who are like, Allianz. I think it's because they pay a good commission uh, as well. But I'm willing to forego, the best commission for the best product for the client, because then the client goes and sings your praises, and that brings you way more money because it brings you people.
Yeah, so the other thing you have to be wary too, and it's not just with Allianz. So my VP, his name's Andy. He worked at a Nexus on the product design side for 8 years. So he helped build these exact products that I'm showing you. So he knows, so he goes to New York, he meets with all the guys on Wall Street, some of the brightest minds out there, right? So I would put him up against anyone in the industry on how fixed index annuities work behind the scenes. Okay. So what he explains to me is the one story you have to be wary of is the participating increasing income story with annuities.
Hmm.
So the guarantee income story with Nationwide is different, right? It's built on guarantees, right? When you're talking about participating income, well, that's what we call it, right? So the income is directly correlated to how much the index is performing. Okay. And specifically the increasing income story. So Allianz has one. We actually have one too, the AIG X5, right? We have a participating income story. We're very wary to talk about those because of how the insurance company functions behind the scenes. So when someone goes into a contract, they're in it for 10 years, for example, right? Mm-hmm. They buy and price the options, knowing that the client more than likely is going to be in the contract for 10 years, right? After the surrender period, right, we don't know how long the client's going to be in that contract. So the way that they buy options is on a 1-year point to point, right? But if you look at all of the illustrations, they're assuming a historical 10 years, right? And it's going to renew and all of these things. So literally, there is zero chance that the participating income story will look anything remotely close to the illustrations because of how the insurance company buys options on the back end.
Okay.
So kind of interesting stuff, right? So when we talk about these things, right, and like, he helped build the AIG X5 and he won't sell it.
Wow.
like this is the way that it works behind the scenes because there is absolutely zero chance it will be even remotely close to what the illustration does. Not even close.
Okay.
So with all things considered, just be weary of that. I mean, there's times and places for it, right? Don't get me wrong. Especially for those clients that are a little more risky, and they want to see, I want to max this thing out. I want to get as much return as I can. I want to get the highest income.
Yeah, I wish I would have spoken to you maybe 2 weeks ago. I have a client. Well, he didn't finalize the paperwork. But what happened, this is actually the guy that I asked you about with the 217. So he had a 457. But so we already have an annuity of $250,000, right? Elsewhere. That's an FIA. And we have this 217 that's probably going to be another 250 that we're playing with now. And from his 457, he had about 60 grand, well, 57,000. But I just put that in a variable annuity with Mass Mutual. But we did not.
They've got a good.
Yeah.
I like it. There's do you have your securities license?
So I don't. I have a Series 7 agent who works on my downline, and then my principal carries his. I'm going for 65. I just want to charge a fee. I really don't feel like dealing with all the FINRA stuff. But after losing that sale, I know it's small, but 60 grand can be 600 grand easily. Um, so I'll probably get my securities license this year. I got a lot of licenses. I hold life, health, accidental, property and casualty. I also hold my P10 and my real estate license. So I do dabble in taxes a little bit with the P10. Um, but I might as well just and then if I'm gonna do securities, I'm just gonna get the 7. I have the SIE book, but right now I am focused on my CRC designation.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, what was attractive about the VA that the client liked or didn't like?
Well, one of the things, basically, on my advice, I explained to him, listen, it's great to have, I wanted him to diversify, right? For number one, at the time, in terms of annuities, I only had the relationship with the one carrier. And in my opinion, it made no sense for him to not diversify. So I explained to him I was going to, introduce him to my principal. I explained to him, look, I'm not even getting paid off of this, but it's in your best interest as my client to diversify. Um, so, I'm very transparent with my clients that way. So when they become clients, they're clients for life. And if I say pull the trigger, they will. So, it's kind of that scenario here. Um, but the attractiveness was my recommendation was he's got a lot of safe money right now. He needs to have something that he can risk. So I said, listen, this 60,000 is basically play money, but you still like your security. So with that, we'll put it in the VA. But if you have something that can rival that, I can definitely. The only thing is we're doing a full rollover, so it'd be qualified.
Yeah. So probably could come up with something, right? So I mean, here's the thing, right? So I think anyone in their right mind would be happy with a 6 or 7% return.
Hmm.
Typically, even in the market, right? So what if we could get 6 or 7% returns with zero downside risk?
Yeah. So and the
So
total amount is 57,148. Sorry.
right, so that's the conversation, the difference maker when you're talking about these FIAs, right?
Hmm.
5 to 7%, that's good, even in the market, right? So what if we could do the same or even better with zero downside risk?
Okay.
So the Athene BCA, the S&P was down, the S&P 500 was down what 20% last year, 19 change.
Yep.
The Athene BCA was up almost 10% to the client
Holy shit.
last year.
How?
So with them, it's some of the most academic backed built indexes in the space. I
Okay.
think Robert Shiller, Jeremy Siegel, some of the brightest minds on Wall Street have built these indexes. They function like they're supposed to. So, for example, one of them can move to cash and short the market, right? So, with how they are built, and we do a lot of due diligence, that's where Andy comes in. But, okay, how is this thing built? Their underlying investments, they work like they're supposed to. So, you can make money in up markets and down markets with these indexes in the Athene BCA. It won the FIA of the year in 2022. The only two-time FIA of the winner ever, FIA of the year winner ever.
Okay. Well, I won the award for ironically enough, in my IMO, I won the award for top annuity producer in 2021 and 2022. So I guess me and Athene have so 3/4 of a mil. It wasn't a bunch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
It was only 750, but well, 750 each year, so 1.5 mil in total. But I know guys who are doing a mil a quarter. So for me, you know, so that's what I'm competing against in my opinion. I'm trying to graduate from the G League and go to the pros. So when I'm doing $1.25 million, I'm sure these conversations will be much more exciting instead of 85K when we're looking at 850K, right? But you got to start somewhere.
Like, get it, the guys like yourself, doing $1 million a month.
Yeah,
That's when we're singing. So, so I'm finishing
the one from my mom.
yeah,
Yeah, I know we've been talking about a bunch of stuff, so I'm glad you're able to keep up because I guess I have a bit of like ADD where I jump around to a bunch of, well, you have to be a salesman. I just jump around, squirrel, and then that's it, right?
yep.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. So I'm gonna send you these three.
okay.
You have three options. The nationwide, put it in there, let it ride. 25 grand in the North American, or just the square amount, 23,000 in BCA. I like that approach, more money, more options. So we go straight growth for 10 years, turn around, reassess the marketplace, see what else is out there, new innovation designs in 10 years. Maybe we can find something that does even better on the income side at that time. So it's just, whatever you feel is best, but we can build whatever you want.
Gotcha. And yeah, because I have a lot of clients whom have a few annuities, and if I can, like I said, a lot of them are coming up at least on the 1 year, so there may be surrender fees, but a lot of these may be suitable to absorb those fees, especially earlier on, if they're getting so much more in their percentages and growth. I'm licensed in 13 states, and of those, I think I have 5 states with where I'm kind of managing people's money, in at least in this kind of an aspect. Um, you know, I don't have to do the trading and stuff, but this is especially when you're looking at their retirement, it's more money management than anything. Um, so I have about 5 states where I have some retirement accounts set up. So I'm definitely appreciative, Colton, because I want to, like I said, obviously going for my CRC, right? And this is kind of the niche I'm looking for. Uh, so definitely give me 1 second. I'm just waiting for the email to load up. Okay, so we've got the nationwide with 23K. And then I don't mind the 25 because I can always, like I said, give her 2 grand. That's not a problem. Okay, same allocations. Go ahead.
The nationwide is going to be kind of interesting illustration because of the deferral period.
Okay.
So we're waiting almost 20 years, which is fine, but it kind of, from a conceptual basis, it kind of shows the functionality of it. So I
Okay.
like it.
So should I be on page 7 or page 9? 8, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so page 7 is Armageddon.
Yeah.
And yeah, page 8.
Wow, that's a nice rate, 9%. Like I said, it's right with mortgages. But yeah, I like that because I'm talking to my clients about between 6 and 7% max. Well, 8% max, right? I think I'm at 8.97. So at 9.41 is attractive. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? So we can, these things are what typically built to do anywhere between 5 and 7, naturally, but where interest rates are today, right? It's worth a conversation that these things could do from 7 to 9 because of the participation rate.
So we're getting back to the 80s, dude. This is awesome.
So, nothing guaranteed on that side, but, with how they're being built right now and the par rates, yeah, it's very much a possibility. Shoot for that 7 to 9%.
Okay. This is I'm sorry, just you can keep going. I'm looking at it and uh it's very attractive. Like I said, I want to do the best thing possible for my mom. And I get, it's a little interesting because we're looking at, 20 years, but I'm looking at, okay, we ride it out for 10 years. If there's nothing else that's great, I can let it sit there for that next 10 years. And if there's something that's great, we've kind of outlived surrender, right? And then we're kind of able to do whatever needs to be adjusted there. Am I right in that thinking?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And then I'm just gonna pop open the second one, and that's with 25K.
Yep, 25K North American laddering strategy. And I
Awesome.
put it in the S&P Prism, one of the best indexes in the space for sure.
Okay. 1
Net
second.
to the client historically is 15%.
Okay.
Um,
S&P
so
Prism.
this is where that more money, more options.
Yeah.
Comes into play. Straight growth, right? Really no bells and whistles other than the laddering strategy on this illustration.
Okay.
So it's pretty clean, right?
All right. So do me this favor because it seems like this is probably I want to take a very aggressive approach with my mom. Um, she's basically leaving this solely to me. Um, she's basically blind, and I'm leading her along the way. And I, obviously being younger and male, have a very aggressive strategy, uh, with which I want to do the same for my mother. Because she does not mind this going to zero, but I'm not going to put it in anything variable, which is why she's not in a VA with this. So the North American strategy seems to be the most aggressive. And am I pretty accurate with that thinking?
Um, yeah. I think you're heading the right direction, right? So aggressive, sometimes aggressive is paired with risk, right? It has the highest upside.
There we go. Okay, yeah, I because I don't want her to have any risk, which is why I'm staying fixed. But I like the upside, which is why I like uh, uh indexed annuities, or indexed everything, right? I'm an IUL indexed annuity guy over like anything else. Um, to be honest, I like index life over annuities, but uh, you know
Yeah.
everybody has certain appetites. So I also understand that not everybody can qualify for those life policies. Um, so this seems, in my opinion, like I said, the most. When I say aggressive, I mean aggressive growth. That's still completely safe. And that's what I want from my mother. I want hella aggressive growth that's absolutely safe. And like you said, in 10 years, she's good to go. So at 25, I'm looking here 10 years, basically she'll, on the guaranteed end, she breaks even, worst case scenario. And that's on the guaranteed side. So if I look at, non-guaranteed in 10 years, wow. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So shit. Um, and then North American, I have to place business initially, right? So my next steps are to do the app.
Yeah. Let me look at what I've got for you real quick. So yeah. So let me send an email to my contracting team, and I'll get the process started on that. I will have them send you product training.
Okay.
So two things need to happen, right? I need to make sure the request is sent.
I did the Reg Ed training if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. 1 second.
Yeah, if you got the Secure Horizon Reg Ed training done, um,
Let
yeah,
me see.
that's the only thing we would need, and I'll probably just make sure that it's a carrier
All right.
contracting side.
I don't know which one is which, but I downloaded a bunch of certificates, so I'm just going to attach them all to this email.
Perfect.
And yeah, these are all that I completed yesterday. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have Viviana. So she's on my team. She helps me with everything. She's my rock star. So I'll have her send you the login for what is called Advisor HQ.
Okay.
And with that login, you'll have access to Firelight, which is our e-application process.
Okay, I use Firelight with Emeritus.
Perfect. Yeah. So now when you log in to Advisor HQ, it's a single log on. So once you log in, you'll be able to access Firelight. So what that does, that's kind of Quantum's Firelight. So with that, there's a lot of support that comes with it, right? So we'll actually pre-scrub the apps if you want us to.
Okay.
I kind of recommend it. So I have the team over here will pre-scrub it, make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, right? Save a lot of time on the back end so you get paid faster. But when you submit it through the Quantum Firelight, it allows us to track everything, right? You get notifications. Our job is to get this through suitability and all that stuff in the most timely manner, so you get paid quicker. When you get paid, I get paid. So we're all fighting the same fight.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right. Well, that's excellent. And then let me just go back to the email really quick. I have too many windows open now. This was, here we go. All right. And this is the Athene one that you showed me, right? Okay. And,
Now it doesn't. Keep in mind that doesn't illustrate as high as the North American. However, it is going to compete moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. It's trying to make sure I've got the right. Okay, so I don't see the Secure Horizon product training, so I'll get that over to you.
Okay.
Instruction.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do the Secure Horizon. Yeah, I don't know what I did yesterday. I just did a bunch of Reg Ed training. I was like, okay, here you go. And then yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So lastly, I have a gentleman whom I am sitting with today at 4 o'clock. 44 years of age. Well, insurance age 44, current age 43. But for the purpose of annuity, I guess he'd be 43.
Okay. 43.
So, and this is the state of New Jersey.
All right.
So right now we have an annuity, it's an SEP, 15K, right? I explained to him because he had some tax issues last year, where he had to drop about $1.37 over the course of 2 weeks. Basically, wasn't paying taxes, and so he had to basically $140,000 IRS penalty. And they wouldn't offer him an offer in compromise because he had too much liquidity. Right, you're talking over 200 grand a year, between 200 and 300 grand a year, single male, no children, no wife. So they're like, yeah, no, give us our money. Um, so he has one SCP with 15K. He's looking today at some options where we can get him some tax favorable situations. So it'll be paid for through the S corp. So he's already got the 15K there. Basically, it's semantics. He's looking at setting up something today where we can just start auto drafting. Do you have any kind of recommendations or ideas?
Yes. So if he's wanting to do that on the annuity side, my go-to is for Flex Premium is
Mm-hmm.
with NLG actually.
Okay.
Now, I have access to NLG, um, but with Experior,
I have NOG with Xperia actually. I just need to get their training codes from uh NLG so I can finish their reggae training to be able to illustrate. Because I can illustrate their annuities right now, but I'm not quite uh adept at their illustration software yet.
yeah. So the product you want to look at is the Fit, their Fit series. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like their secure growth or something like that. It, I don't know, something growth. It's in some, so they have a Fit Income, Fit Secure Growth, Fit whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm pulling it up right now.
yeah. So if you read them on, I can tell you.
Give me one second.
They
Illustrations. Let's do new illustration. I'll have to do. I can do New York. Okay, New York. Oh, they only have life in New York. Okay. Let's see, New Jersey. FPDA indexed annuity. So they have Fit Secure, Growth, and Fit Select Income.
It's Secure Growth. I think that's the one you want to look at. Both of them are fantastic, by the way.
Okay.
So either one are fine. Um, so those ones I believe are Flex Premium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, the illustrations will lead into life illustration on their Fit Income one. If you don't believe me, you can run it.
Give me one second.
But
Now I'm getting text messages too. Uh, Sorry about that. I just want to make sure I respond to everything. Yeah, well, you kind of have to. That's how you make money. All right. So let's see. Non-qualified client information, non-qualified individual. So actually, the owner is going to be his corporation because it's going to be the S corp. And then he's going to be the annuitant. 43. Actually, let me see what's his date of birth here. 8/17/79. So 8/17/1979. Male. Okay. And then funding and withdrawals. So I guess with the max, I guess as an SEP, I would guess do what 66,000 is the max you can put per year.
um, yeah, you would know more on that than I.
Okay.
Yeah. So now with that Fit series, there's two indices you want to look at. They're both um, yes, I think there's an SG, or there's two of them. But you want to do the rate booster. So you get like 260% participation rate, 50-50 between the two.
Okay, so
Um,
rate booster S&P 5 to S&P point to point. You said do that 50.
what are the other ones with the rate booster?
So we've got rate booster S&P 500, rate booster GBI Global Balance Index point to point. And we've got rate booster US Fundamental Index point to point.
The latter of the two. So
The
those two.
global and index fund US Fundamental.
Yeah, I've dug into those.
Uh-huh.
They're solid. They're projected to do very well over the next 10 years. it's worth buying the rate up. Yeah, those are solid. I think the S&P, even with the rate booster, is kind of low on the participation rate. Like, I don't know, 50 or 60% or something.
All right.
It might be a cap, one of the two.
So it
You're gonna
looks
have higher
like
upside with the other.
it looks like there's a maximum of, wait, hold on. What is this saying? Premiums are limited by the maximum cumulative premium of 2 million. So there is a 50,000 annual periodic payment maximum starting in year 6. So is this basically he can only put 50,000 in instead of 66,000?
Not too dialed in on that. Maybe.
Okay, so you know what? I'll just illustrate it based on 50 grand. And then you
Yeah,
just run it
you may
quickly.
have to call the sales desk over there too.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'd kind of point you in that direction. Those are they're both solid, and yeah, I like those both, especially with like if you want to do single premium, I think there's better options out there in the space. If you want to do flex premium, those are very very
Well,
competitive.
I'm assuming so my strategy is I'm looking to save him some tax dollars, right? So what I'm looking is through the S corp, right? Because I want to do basically, are you familiar with a 162, an executive bonus plan?
Um, I don't deal much with that, so when we start talking about kind of advanced stuff like that, I always kind of refer to my VP, so Andy.
Okay.
But yeah, if you need any help with it,
Oh,
feel
no,
free
no,
to
no,
give me a
no.
call.
Yeah, no, yeah, I have section 162 up, down, left, right, A, B, start, contra code, right? If you're born in the 80s, you understand that. Uh, but don't let me date myself there now. Um, but so 162 basically is a life insurance paid for through the corporation. There's some tax advantages to it, so on and so forth. Same premise with the SCP IRA, right? So I'm assuming that with this SCP, I want to save him some tax dollars so he doesn't have to pay the government, 150 grand in the span of 2 weeks again, right? He'd rather keep that, or if he's going to pay somebody 150 grand, I'll take a little commission off of that, than the government taking it all themselves. So I want to put him in position where he's putting at least 50,000 away for, at least the next decade. So we're looking at least a half a mil. Probably, I'd probably put more if I can, just to save him some tax dollars. We're probably looking at about, if I can put it in multiple places, we'll do a half a mil in 2 places. So over the course of 10 years, at least $1 million in 2 places. So you pointed me in the right direction, Colton. I don't want to hold you up too long. I'm sure you've got other agents who are, sitting on the hotline for a half hour waiting and in frustration. So I
My thing is, I want to earn your business, right? So, we're kind of in the same boat that way. So whatever I can do to help, right? And obviously when we're working 5 or 6 cases on one phone call, that's time well spent, right?
right.
So make you money, hopefully I can make some money in the process. Everyone's, a win-win.
Gotcha. Well, all right, Colton. I am going to hop off and get some lunch before I got to run to my meetings and kind of prep for mom and mother-in-law. With my mom, it's pretty much a done deal. I'm probably going to. So if you can send over that stuff for NLG as well, as North American, so I can get ready to kind of do that strategy with North American with my mom. I am going to keep an eye open for the Athene. Um, but I kind of like North American. Just the way it looks is easy to present.
Yep.
And kind of get that done for mom, because I want aggressive growth for her. Because yeah, it's mom.
Yep. I get it. Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, I got my marching orders. I'll get everything over to you. And we'll go from there.
I thank you so much, Colton. You have a great one.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Bye bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's your boy.